Shabbat Shalom to the thousands of you that are out there for Addie's Bat Mitzvah. Right? There's just an overwhelming demand. We are trying to deal with all the technological issues, Addie. We're going viral. They're logging in from Russia, we hear, from China, and even from, believe it or not, North Korea. All right, so this is big news. If you don't know, we are making history here. Temple Aliyah history, the first outdoor bat mitzvah we're having, certainly with the pandemic. I think it's the first one we've had. And I'm without a mask right now, but I'm prepared. Everybody who's here, there are about 20 people. They all have masks on. They are safely distanced from one another. I'm in my bubble over here. And only when people are in their bubbles, just so you'll know, because we are practicing all the safety protocols we have here in California. If you're not in California, we're pretty much of a hotspot. And so only the bat mitzvah and her family, when they're in front of the Torah, they will be able to be without a mask. That's going to be their safety zone there. Mine is here. Hazan Stein is out in Encino, I think, is playing from there. But it's really nice. Nadler, can you believe it? I was talking with Bob and Temi, the eighth one of the grandchildren that we are celebrating. And then we'll just start working on the next life cycle event. There you go. All right, Temi and Bob, we're ready for that. Those of you who are home, by the way, you're going to be able to, we use what's called the Lev Shalem prayer book of the conservative movement. It's actually available on our website as well. You can log on if you didn't yet, and you can access a copy of it, courtesy of the Rabbinical Assembly. And it's the afternoon, the Mincha afternoon service, if you've done that or not. Those are the pages we'll be announcing. If you have a different prayer book at home, it's a great thing about Jewish prayer books. They're good. Like, you just have to find and figure out the right page. They're basically all the same prayers. Isn't that amazing? Like I said, have you ever been somewhere around the world or somewhere like you just different prayer book, but the same prayers? It's really amazing. And that's the gift of Jewish tradition of being, if you will, a universal tradition. I'm going to be wearing a talit. Those of people who are coming up to the Torah itself will be using a talit. We'll be wearing one. But in the afternoon service, we traditionally don't wear one, only during the morning services. But since I'm up here and involved with Torah, I'm going to put my talit on. And I'm going to have Addison, you're going to come forward, please. You're wearing your mask. Come on. Once you get up here, you can take it off. All right. And Addison, she's all right. We're going to move the camera over to her as well, and she is just the most delightful and poised bat mitzvah that we've ever had in an outdoor bat mitzvah service here at the Temple Aliyah. So on page 214, you're going to lead us, Addie, you can move the microphone. Always feel free moving that microphone. You're going to lead us, and all of you, by the way, those of you who are here, if you don't have a prayer book, come up. They're over here. All right? Yes. Yeah. Come and get them. You'll hand them out to your families. The Mincha, the afternoon service, is every day. We have morning, afternoon, evening services, Shachrit, Mincha, and Mariv. And on Shabbat afternoon, the Mincha service is when we read Torah. And that's why you can have your bat mitzvah. That's why you have a Torah right in front of you, is because we read it. We didn't just take it out just for you, although I would. You're just a very special young lady. But those of you who now have your prayer books, on page 214, if you open, she's going to begin reading on the left-hand side of the page in English. Go ahead, Ed.
Joyous are they who dwell in your house. They shall praise you forever.
Joyous the people who are so favored. Joyous the people whose God is Adonai.
I exalt you, my God, my sovereign. I praise your name always.
Every day I praise you, glorifying your name always.
Great is Adonai, greatly to be praised, though your greatness is unfathomable.
One generation praises your works to another, telling of your mighty deeds.
I would speak of your majestic glory and of your wondrous acts.
Generations speak of your awe-inspiring deeds. I, too, shall recount your greatness.
They recount your great goodness and sing of your righteousness.
Adonai is merciful and compassionate, patient and abounding in love.
Adonai is good to all, and God's mercy embraces all of creation.
All of creation acknowledges you, and the faithful bless you.
They speak of your glory. They speak of the glory of your sovereignty and tell of your might.
Proclaiming to humanity your mighty deeds and the glory of your majestic sovereignty.
Your sovereignty is eternal. Your dominion endures every generation.
Adonai supports all who falter and lifts up all who are bent down.
The eyes of all look hopefully to you, and you provide them nourishment in its proper time.
Opening your hand, you satisfy with contentment all that lives.
Adonai is righteous in all that is done, faithful to all creation.
Adonai is near to all who call sincerely.
God fulfills the desire of those who are faithful, listening to their cries, rescuing them.
Adonai watches over all who love the Holy One, who will destroy all the wicked.
My mouth shall utter praise of Adonai. May all that is mortal praise God's name forever and ever.
Okay, Hatzi Kaddish now, page 217. Torah service, if we were inside, if we were allowed to be able to hold the Torah, walk around with it and kiss the Torah, that's what we'd be doing at this point. But we're going to be safe in terms of how we approach this service. So we're not going to do that, but we're going to recognize that we are starting officially our Torah service. And so I want you to just imagine that the Torah is being brought around, and Chazan Mimi from her home, from her living room, is going to join us via Zoom. And Al Shlosha Devarim, on three things does the Torah stand: on Torah, Avodah, Gemilut Chasadim, on Torah, on worship, and an acts of loving kindness. Chazan Mimi.
Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam Omed, Al HaTorah ve'al Avodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, Al HaTorah ve'al Avodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim.
Now we're ready for the Torah service. But before we do that, I'm going to call upon Julie and Mitch and Addison. And the parents are going to present to their daughter. Do a little bit more angle. Stand over here closer to the Torah Addy so that your parents you can see them in the camera as well. And you're going to share some words with your daughter now, trying to not cry, trying to make through it and through it all, and to share this beautiful moment with her. Go ahead.
Addison, I'm so happy to be standing here together after all the changes and uncertainties of these last few months. I'm so proud of you for all the time, dedication, and energy you put in to prepare for the community bat mitzvah. You continued to study and prepare for today without any complaints, even when we weren't sure if the service would be resolved. You are the final bat mitzvah of the 8 Nadler cousins. Fitting to your character, your service is the most unique of them all. You are your own individual. You do not go along with the crowd if your inner voice tells you otherwise. You're brave enough to stand up for yourself if it doesn't feel right to you. As a parent, this can be frustrating at times, but I know it will lead you to make choices for the right reasons. Addison, I love your creative mind and how you can dream up something and then make it come to life using Legos or items you find around the house. I love your caring heart and how you always try to do everything you can to cheer others up or make them feel welcome. I love your independent spirit and how even at 4 years old, you're the spokesperson for your older siblings. My wish for you as you begin your journey as an adult in the Jewish community is simply this: remain a kid. Don't lose your gift of creativity and living in the moment. As you continue to make your way in the world with youthful exuberance, always listen to your moral compass and trust that it will not lead you astray. Always remember how much I love you. Know my heart is filled with infinite love and admiration for the beautiful soul you've already become and for the unending joy and compassion that you bring to the world today and always.
That's beautiful. Give your mom a hug. Go ahead. She deserves it. She made it through the whole thing. Here you go. Mitch, come on.
As a bat mitzvah, the Jewish faith now recognizes you as an adult. But anybody that knows you knows the Jewish faith should have recognized you as an adult 10 years ago. You were born with wisdom and maturity beyond your years. You've never been intimidated, and you always jump right in feet first. You walked through the door your first day of preschool, introduced yourself to the teachers, grabbed the book, sat down at the table, gave me a big hug as I walked off, in a big wave as well. No tears, no fear, not intimidated at all, just a big smile on your face. Your maturity and fearlessness do have some drawbacks, particularly when you throw it in with more than a little bit of clumsiness. There was a week where he had to take you to get stitches twice in the same week. And then when you broke your arm, we were in a cast for 3 months, you got your cast off, and we brought you right back to the hospital to get recast with 6 days later. Your brother and sister and cousins will point out you can be strong-willed and even stubborn, but these are attributes that will take you far in life when your age catches up with your mind. Your maturity is only outmatched by your heart. You have more compassion than anyone I know. You always want to make sure everyone is okay. I want to share with you an email that we received from one of your teachers this year, and I'm quoting the email we received. I was sitting, and this is a quote, I was sitting by myself waiting for my wife to arrive when Addie walked by and noticed me sitting there alone. She approached me and asked, "Are you eating all alone?" I smiled and says, "Yes, but it's okay, I'm waiting for my wife." Addie smiled and giggled and said, "Okay, I just wanted to make sure," and then she ran off. My wife and I were so touched that Addie would take time to check in on me to make sure it was okay. It's the kindest little moment I have had all year, and I truly appreciate Addison's generous heart. Countless teachers have told us that you make their classroom brighter just by making sure everyone is okay and included. But any description of you, Addison, wouldn't be complete without talking about your spectacular creativity. You can dream up an art project off the top of your head and start putting it together with objects from around the house. This includes the costumes that you create, as well as your sketchbook that is becoming more and more remarkable every day. Art is not something that comes naturally to you, but with your creativity and determination, you've grown by leaps and bounds. Addie, when Rabbi Vogel asked me to tell you what I hoped for from this day, I said I hope this day would be special and memorable. This is not the bat mitzvah that you had dreamed of, but this day is special because you are determined to make it so no matter what. I love the excitement you've showed for this day, even through all the twists and turns. In fact, you only had 2 simple requests for today: the chance to share it with your closest friends and wear the sparkly dress that you would have worn to your party. Your friends are here watching on the internet, and you look truly like a star in your sparkly dress. I love you.
Give your dad a hug. And you're going to take the talit from your parents, recite the blessing, move the microphone in front of her as well, if you will.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidjanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, l'hit ataf b'tzitzit.
Amen. I'm going to give an introduction to the Torah as Addie, you can get ready over there. You can take off the Torah cover and find your place, and your parents can get ready to recite the blessings. Because those of you who are here, you have to understand the context of the Torah reading, and those of you who are out in Addie land, you can understand that this morning, we began reading the book of Deuteronomy. And it's the 5th book. Addie, feel free, you can put that to the side. you put it to the wayside. Give it to your mom somewhere over there for now. All right, and then you can find your place in there. The book of Deuteronomy is just as Israelites are about to enter into the land of Israel, about to cross over. Moses, and literally the week before he's about to die, the week before he's going to hand over the reins of the Jewish people, the Israelites, to Joshua, he is sharing with this next generation of what they transpired during their wanderings in the wilderness. Right? These are the younger generation who left Egypt, and the older generation passed away during the 40 years of wandering. And so the words that he's going to share, Julian mentioned, it's much like what parents want to share to their child, right? At the very end, like, what do you want them to remember? What are the values? Remember, we talked about this. Right? What are the values that you want your children to remember? And so Moses is sharing how they left Egypt and what it meant to be a slave, and to remember that you're a slave, because when you remember that you are a slave, you remember that you have to treat the stranger with kindness. The haftat et hager, you shall love the stranger. 39 times it's stated in the Torah to love the stranger. It's a value, the Jewish people, it's a value that we've shared always in terms of finding equality for all people. And then he's going to share with them again a recapitulation of the 10 Commandments. And Addison's going to be reading the second part of those 10 Commandments, starting with, I think, respecting parents, right? Which is a good one to start. That's a good place. Julia mentioned a good place for her to start, to emphasize the importance of honoring and respecting parents. And the goal in all of this is that Moses wants this next generation to be able to make their history, to make it their history as well. That's the important part. And that's what this is about. You know, all the Nadler grandkids, I look at all here, and Griffin and Jake and all of you and Joey, like it's just amazing. Lexi, like it's gone through all of you, your B'nai Mitzvah, and it's always been a case of sharing the story to the next generation. Is that what your parents do? Don't they share their stories? Don't your grandparents share their stories with you? Don't they talk to you, Bob and Tammy, don't you talk about the importance of connection and family and tradition? And that's what it's all about. And Moses wants this generation, with the children and grandchildren of those who left now, to hold on to it and to make it theirs. And so these are the values that have held together the Israelites in their wandering of the 40 years. It's what's going to be the essence of the society as they go into the land of Israel. And then it's going to be the foundation of the Jewish tradition and rabbinic tradition after that. So we're going to now turn to the actual Torah reading. Hazan, you're going to call up the parents officially. Go ahead, please. All right, Samantha and Matthew are going to join over there as well for the recitation of the blessing. Go ahead, Addie, you can join them over there, and you'll just find your place and get ready. When they finish the blessing, you'll be able to start with the Torah reading itself. All right, so here we go. Baruch Adonai HaBarach, Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Hamim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. It's you, Addison.
Ve'etanan el Adonai, ve'etachi le'mor, Adonai Elohim, Ata chachilota lecharot et avdecha et godlecha ve'et yadecha ha'chazacha asher mi'el bashamayim uva'aretz asher ya'aseh chema'asecha ve'hibrotecha ebrana ve'eret et ha'aretz ha'torah asher be'ever hayarden ha'char ha'tov hazeh Ve'achal levanon.
I just take your talit, the tzitzit, touch it onto the Torah. Go ahead, and you'll complete the blessings together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betoheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. We're going to call forward the grandparents for the second Aliyah. You won't see them on screen because they're going to be standing a safe distance at their seats, but we're going to call them forward officially as well. And you can go back to your seats, Nadlers. Well, they're all Nadlers almost, except for Starks as well. But we're going to have Jake, who's going to be coming up to read the Torah as well. So Bob and Temi, come on forward, please. And we're going to hear the voices out there disembodied, but you're going to, after Chazan officially calls you, you'll recite the blessing.
Ya'amadu Abraham ben Mordechai v'Timna bat Yosef Shei.
Baruch atah Adonai. No, Baruch atah Adonai Ambarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Ha'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haTorah.
Amen.
Vayitaber Adonai bi lemanechem velo shama Elai vayomer Adonai Elai rav lach al tosef daber Elai od hadavar hazeh alei rosh hapiska Besa einecha yama v'tzafona v'teimana umizracha ur'ei v'einecha kilo ta'avor et hayarden hazeh v'tzavet Yehoshua v'chazekehu v'amitzehu ki hu ya'avor Lifnei ha'am hazeh v'hu yanchil otam et ha'aretz asher tir'eh v'nei shevagai mul beit peor ve'ata Yisrael shema el hachukim ve'el hamishpatim Asher Anochi Melamed Etchem La'asot Leman Tifyu Uvatem Virishtem Et Haaretz Asher Adonai Elohei Et Elohei Avotechem Notain Lachem Lo tosifu al hadavar asher anochi metzaveh etchem velo tigreu mimenu lishmor et mitzvot Adonai Elohechem asher anochi metzaveh etchem einechem haroot et Asher asa Adonai b'Baal Peor ki chol ha'ish Asher halach acharei Baal Peor hishmido Adonai Elohecha mikirbecha ve'atem hadavekim Adonai Elohechem Chayim kulchem hayom.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, בחיי עולם נקב בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. I'm turning the Torah a little bit because this next section that Addison is going to be reading is just a couple of verses later. And Addison, come on forward. All right. Before you begin reading the Torah portion, you're going to share your thoughts on today's portion. And so as I move away, you'll be able to take off your mask and you can move the microphone in front of you. Okay, slowly, clearly, and loudly. You got it? Okay, go ahead.
My Torah portion is V'et Hanan. Moses pleads with Adonai, hoping to be let into the promised land. However, Adonai says no. Joshua will lead the Israelites. So Moses goes to give the Israelites his final speech. Reminder, according to the Torah, Moses was 120 at this time. He reminds the people of Adonai's power and that they should always love and never forget Adonai. Moses then chose 3 cities of safe refuge, where someone who has accidentally killed someone can find safety. After saying a few of his own personal words, Moses recited the 10 Commandments. Moses wraps up his speech by saying that Adonai represents fire and flames, and to teach your children the words of Adonai. In my Torah portion, Moses chose 3 cities of safe refuge for people that may have accidentally killed someone. I found this interesting because it makes me think, how did ancient people accidentally kill someone? Rabbi Golko and my Hebrew tutor helped me think of some hypothetical situations, such as, what if someone dug a hole and someone accidentally fell in? This also makes me wonder, were these accidental killings frequent events? And why would people that killed someone be offered a safe refuge? Back then, it was legal for people to take revenge on others who killed their relatives, whether it was on purpose or not. If you didn't want to be murdered for accidentally killing someone, then you would go to one of the safe refuge cities. According to Rabbi Lazer Gurkow, in these cities, the refugee would be in a sacred environment, surrounded by scholars and rabbis. It was believed that by being around great minds, the refugee would be spiritually healed. I wasn't able to find clear answers as to how often they occurred, but the accidental killings must have been frequent enough for Moses to do something about it. I think the point of the passage is about providing a safe refuge to those in need, regardless of why they need it. To me, becoming a bat mitzvah means becoming a part of Jewish tradition and being seen as more responsible. As I get older, life throws more challenges my way. Home can be seen as a safe refuge. My parents are like the rabbis with their wisdom, and my siblings are like the scholars. They are still learning, but they still have knowledge to share. Whenever I've had a rough day, I can come home, and my family will help me find the right mindset. Thank you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. And Addie, you're going to, the Chazan is going to call you up officially, then you're going to start with the blessings and then the Torah reading.
Abahura, Abat Mitzvah, Tabor, Tabor, Aliyah bat Mordechai v'Guli Shlishi,
Blessing? Blessing first.
Sure.
Have the blessing?
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin v'hayei olam nitah betochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
See it there? You cut it? You cut it? Yeah, go ahead.
Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha ha'asher tzivacha Adonai Elohecha leman ya'arifun yamecha u'ma'an yitach la al ha'azam Ma'ah, Asher Adonai Elohecha, Noten Lach, Lo Tirzach, Velo Tinach, Velo Tignov, Velo Ta'aneh Berecha Eishav, Velo Tachmod Eshet Re'echa, Velo Titaveh Re'echa, Sadechu Ve'avdo Ve'amato Shoro Ve'chomaro Ve'chol Asher Bere'echa. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nitah b'tzorchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
All right, come back here. Come back. Go on that side, if you don't mind. We'll do a little bit of safe spacing over here. You can move the microphone towards you. How are you feeling?
Good.
Better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the experience that you all had? Lexi, do you remember this moment? You remember that great feeling of like just relief, right? I made it. I survived. You know, your parents talked about, no one dreamed ever that we would be in a condition in which we would be in face masks and trying to celebrate a bat mitzvah with 20 people in a time in which the world is basically closed down. But Addie, we talked about this, that this is an important statement of life. That the Jewish people throughout history have been faced with adversity, horrible things. You know that. Long before the Holocaust, the Crusades, expulsions, destructions, and yet we never give up. And so your bat mitzvah today is a statement of belief that life goes on, that whatever moment we're in, that we're going to find that joy and to celebrate, because that's what we do. I love the reading. Did you enjoy reading the Ten Commandments? And you started with the fifth one, you shall honor your father and mother. And it's interesting, I don't know if you know this, traditionally it's seen that the 10 commandments are divided into 5 and 5. The first 5 being between people and God, and the second between people and people. But then they ask, well, what about that fifth one, the one that you read, you shall honor your mother and father? Why is that on the side of laws between people and God? Have you ever thought about that? Right? Why does it belong on that side? What the rabbis say is, you're thinking about it, aren't you? I like what you think. That's the one thing I love about her. She's always thinking. Like, we know that. If you don't know Addie well, those of you who are out there, Addie, like, you just throw out a hypothetical situation, a rhetorical question, and she's gonna focus on that. Right? She's gonna start thinking like, wait a minute, that's actually an interesting question. So the answer the rabbis give, Addie, is that honoring parents really is a way of recognizing much more than just parents. It's recognizing life itself, being able to appreciate where we come from. And is it true, like, do you appreciate your parents enough, you think? What would your parents say?
For them.
What were your parents? I think they say, yeah, most of the time, I think, is the vote. Right? But it's hard as a kid sometimes to appreciate it and to understand. And your grandparents and those who came before you. And that's why that commandment is there, to remind you that actually relationships with people can lead to God, to understanding that it's much more than you, a world beyond you. And so we are just so thrilled to be able to celebrate your Bat Mitzvah. I really am. I can't tell you how amazing this is. I can't put my hands on you literally. I can't physically. But here's what I do. Miss and Julie, we didn't practice this. I want you to come here. I want you to stand behind your daughter. Right? I want you to take off your mask. Go ahead, take off your mask. I'm going to go back to this microphone. I want you to put your hands on her shoulder. And I want you, if I can, through you, to provide this blessing and this gift to her. And Andy, this has been a blessing that's been given for at least 3,000 years. And it's included in the Torah. And it's my honor, pleasure to be able to, through your parents, to be able to bestow it upon you. Yavarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lach shalom. Andy, may God always be with you. May you always inspire others as you do now. May that love of life that you have and that inquiry that you have of life, may you always bring it in and to help make a difference in this world. And when you do, that's when you're going to help make peace, shalom. And we all say, amen. I would probably give her a kiss on the head, but go ahead, you do that for me. There you go. All right, Addison, you're fine now. Thank you, Julie and Mitch. And we're going to continue now. Hazan Mimi is going to continue for us.
Beautiful job, Addie.
Continue with our service. We're going to ask you to rise. Those of you who are here, we're going to be in our prayer book now. We're back in our prayer book. And you're going to find Addie's going to help lead us in the Amidah, beginning page 223. Page 223, and whatever prayer book you're in as well, you can find it. And Addie, you're going to lead us, please, if you will. Go ahead. Yeah, take it off.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Zocher HaSe'avot, Umevigo Elivnei Uma'an Shemo Ba'achon, Melech Ozer Chokeinu Moshiach, Malkeinu Ha'olam U'Choker Tzarah, Atali Bordelon Adonai, Kimata Ravechosia, Morid Hata, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Meitim Berachamim, Tomech Moflim Berachecholi, Umatir Asarim, Umachayem Emrato, Lishenei Achar, Mechamocha Ba'al Geburah, Umidor Melech, Melech Meni, Umachayem, Umatzli Ayeshua, Tena Emanat Halacha Chayot Meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hametim.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech haaretz kevodo.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech haaretz kevodo, Yom Hatam Baruch Yomeru.
Baruch Adonai mimkomaha.
Baruch Adonai mimkomo, U'birei kodshacha katuv lemor. ימלוך ה' לעולם ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד תודך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו לא יבוש לעולם ועד. כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Our prayer continue either Hebrew or English, or if you prefer private meditations of your heart at this time. Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Le'amto Yisrael. Shalom, Shalom All right, you may be seated. We're going to continue with the Kadisha Lem, page 230. Chazan Stein is going to lead us. We rise together, page 231 for Aleinu. Chazan Mimi will lead us.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר ארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום להשב אותה אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד על כן נגמר ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Be seated. On page 232, prayer services always Jewish people end with the mourner's Kaddish. And so if anybody here and, who's present at our service, or if you online, if you're watching and you are reciting the Kaddish, it's the Yortzeit, the anniversary of the passing of a loved one, or you are in mourning still in the 1 year for a parent, for other relatives, you're invited to rise at this time. And page 232, those reciting the Kaddish, join along with me. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, amen. Yalmad yivrach v'yutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael, v'galav v'zman kariv v'ru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach v'alam omei omaya. יתברך, ישתבח, יתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה, בריחו, לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, למירם בעלמה יאמרו אמן, יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיים, חיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יאמרו אמן, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יאמרו אמן. May God establish his peace in the heavens, grant peace and harmony for us, fellow Israel, and all of humanity. We say, amen. We've reached the end. That's something. Addie, did it go too fast? It did go too fast, didn't it? Kacha, as we say in Hebrew, I guess. Okay. Well, I have some gifts for you. Just stay where you are for one moment. I just want to acknowledge from, first of all, from the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles. You have a book, Israel Matters. I want you to be able to read it and to learn more about Israel. And we're going to go one day, all right? We're going to get you to Israel, all right? We'll get you there, don't worry. And then we also have, these are great, for their socks and glasses. You'll see these for a party, like when you're gonna have a good time, you're sliding around on the dance floor. That's what these are for, and to look cool. And we have a gift from the synagogue of a Kiddush cup. So these are all gonna be for you. This is a sacred moment. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna invite Addison and Julie and Mitch, Samantha and Matthew. I want you to all stand over there. All right, we're gonna do Shechianu together. You can take off your mask. Go ahead, go over there. Go around the back there. Go around, Carlos, the back way. There you go. All right. And if you're home, what I want you to do is I want you to stand up, put your arms around whoever you're with. Those of you who are here, stand up. All right. This is Shechianu moment. This is a blessing, Bob and Temi, right? These are the moments where we appreciate life and all of goodness, and to be able to share together. And so, so great to see the Starks and the Nadlers and everybody to be able to celebrate. So put your arms around each other, and we're going to join together in the Shechianu Hazan Stein. Who's leading us, Hazan Stein or Hazan Mimi?
I'll do it.
Okay, go ahead, Hazan Stein.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yanu v'kivanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Well, now just go back here and join this. Come on.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Before you go live streaming, I want you all as a family, just get closer to the camera. Go ahead, go up and just wave to everybody, say hello, and let them know everything about you. Go closer. Come on, stick your faces right there in front of the camera. All right. And wonderful as we join together. Simcha Mazel Tov.
Oh my God.
Thank you.